Good morning, everybody. This is Aaron, and this is my Promethean way. We're going to be talking about RK theory and how it relates to fitness. So here's the overview. You can pause the video to take a look, and I'll read it off. R selection, mass reproduction. You mass reproduce. Perception of infinite resources. Poor future time orientation. Weak relationships. Hyper-individualism, greater dissatisfaction, obesity-prone, instant gratification seeking, whereas K selection is limited reproduction, resource scarcity, the acknowledgement of it, strong future time orientation, strong in-group relationships, collective mentality, greater levels of contentment, fit lifestyle and body prone, and delay of gratification prone. So the differences are, our selection is someone that reproduces like a rabbit or frog or a fish that spawns and doesn't really take care of the children as mammals do. So you'll see this in the insect world, you'll see this in the fish world, and you will see this in some mammalian species like the rabbit. Whereas the K selection, limited reproduction, would be like the wolves. They have very small packs compared to the mass amounts of rabbits you'll find in a field. You'll have hundreds of rabbits in a field versus one pack of maybe 8 to 10 wolves. The differences again continue, where perception of infinite resources will lead to mass reproduction. If your brain perceives that there is infinite resources in front of you, you will continue making more and more and more bunnies without any consequence to the future. So if you think that you have infinite resources ahead of you and you can mass reproduce, you don't think about the future as much. Versus K selection, where you perceive resource scarcity, harder to find resources, you there start thinking about tomorrow a lot more. In an R-selected society, you have weaker interpersonal relationships versus K-selected societies, very strong in-group loyalties, like a wolf, very strong pack mentality, whereas rabbits, they don't care about each other as much. They don't fight off the hawk or the fox when it comes to claim a bunny rabbit for breakfast. They simply just run faster than the other bunnies. Hyper-individualism. Individualism is great, but hyper-individualism is a very negative versus collective mentality. Collectivism can be bad, but the collective mentality means the pack identity. Strong in-group relationships and collectivism tend to run. You care about your friends and family more than you do about a bunch of random strangers. Versus hyper-individualism, you don't care about anybody but yourself. Then there's greater levels of dissatisfaction in an R-selected society, because all these things do not lead to anything that has a long-term satisfaction level. Versus greater levels of contentment in a very K-selected society because of the very strong level of collectivism, the very strong levels of in-group identity, very strong levels of future time orientation, and the fact that you are putting more of your resources into fewer and fewer children, you can spend more time with them and have a stronger bond and relationship. Our selection leads to more obesity. Bunnies tend to be fat. They tend to be a little slower witted. Well, versus wolves. Wolves are very fit animals. They have a very fit lifestyle and very fit. So they're very prone to having fit body and fit lifestyle. Instant gratification seeking is the last of the R selection traits, and we see here that they will always look to have the instant gratification now, want to have that liaison with that female bunny now, and then have another one tomorrow with another one, and then have that little blade of grass and the next little blade of grass, and therefore it's only instant gratification. Leads to more obesity prone, leads to greater dissatisfaction, again, weak relationships, allows you to have poor future time orientation. Whereas K selection, you actually delay your gratification for the good of the group. You have strong in-group relationships that allow you to delay your gratification. If you have a strong relationship with your friends and family, you will then say, okay, I won't eat that loaf of bread today so that the group can have more tomorrow because of a perception of resource scarcity. How does this all relate to fitness? Well, many people I see to the club will come in and they'll come in very R-selected. They're very overweight, they're very unhappy, They have great levels of dissatisfaction in their personal lives. Their relationships are not as strong as they would like them to be. And they tend to focus more about me, and don't understand that servicing the self is not necessarily going to bring them greater levels of satisfaction. They tend to think that everyone else is the cause of their problems and not themselves. When you first understand the concept that you have the ownership of your personhood, and you are in control of your actions, you are in control of your body, you're in control of the decisions you make and the decisions you don't make, it then starts to shift you away from R to K again. We're all pretty much born very K selected. And when you start to swing towards the K selection, you get everything that is going to benefit your body. You especially start to develop this fit lifestyle and body. You start to get more prone to being healthy for the sake of having greater levels of contentment, because you've delayed that gratification, not eating that bag of chips today, so that you can have a fit body, so that you can have stronger relationships with your friends and family and have more time with them in the future. You start thinking about being there for your grandkids instead of worrying about your instant gratification today. If you have this, you can't have this. So this is how this does relate to fitness. I like to change all the rabbits I meet into wolves again. So this will hopefully give you an understanding of what RK selection and gene theory is all about. So that is your vid for the day. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, thumbs up, share this, comment, and let's get the world healthier. This is my Promethean way.